So, Madam Speaker, what one is saying is that hopefully within months, not years, that cases can be dealt with where a witness in the hills close to a police station can actually go to the police station and give evidence at the police station without having to travel 10 or 20 miles to the parish court in order to give evidence. Moreover, Madam Speaker, witnesses could also, from remote locations, be it the mobile units that we are providing at the Ministry of Justice, or even at the police station, or even abroad, Madam Speaker, can give evidence and the cases can be tried virtually. This will be an enormous amount of savings, Madam Speaker, if you hear the police vans taking prisoners from 100-man station, GP, district prison every morning. There should be no need for this, Madam Speaker. The accused can actually sit in a witness box in the police station or the prison and participate in the trial in the vast majority of cases. There will be cases, Madam Speaker, that it will be necessary for the accused to be in court, especially for jury trials. But in general, Madam Speaker, I look forward to the day when these trials are virtual, and I hope it will be soon, Madam Speaker. Another vision, Madam Speaker, that I have for the courts is that they will soon become paperless. I previously made the pledge, and the Ministry of Justice remains committed to this objective, where all documents will eventually be filed online and stored digitally. This, Madam Speaker, will free up hundreds of thousands of square footages across the court complexes. Any one of us who have had the opportunity to visit a court complex will see 1, 2, 3 big rooms, some of them as big as this Parliament, Madam Speaker, storing documents. I dare say, Madam Speaker, if we could clear all of the space and put them digitally, the amount of space that will be opened up in the court complexes would be enormous. And that includes the Supreme Court, Madam Speaker, where huge numbers of files are storing documents, and all of these need to be digitized. So, Madam Speaker, with a paperless court and virtual court hearings and actual reality, we may need to look how we use court space, and in fact, Madam Speaker, how we build new courts, because less space will be required. Madam Speaker, court efficiency, easy access to justice services, and the timely delivery of justice are the hallmarks of a first-class justice system. We have taken the first steps towards these objectives, but much more needs to be done. Madam Speaker, at the end of the day, the executive and the country are looking to the judiciary to play a significant role in sending the clearest signals to criminals that crime has severe detrimental consequences. This can be accomplished, Madam Speaker, by timely trials, strong pronouncements from the bench, and in appropriate cases, harsh sentences that send a powerful message and an emphatic denunciation of criminal activities. Madam Speaker, for murder and all serious crimes, life imprisonment is the penalty. And there is no doubt, Madam Speaker, no case is the same as another. And in some cases, Madam Speaker, when the person pleads guilty, there can be concession in terms of some years taken off, and the reduction of sentences is quite appropriate in many of these cases. But, Madam Speaker, where the crime, be it murder or other serious offences, is so gross, so gruesome, whether or not the offender pleads guilty, the court should send a salutary message, the strongest message possible, that that individual, when he is sent to jail, won't see outside again. And what this means, Madam Speaker, and I urge the court to bear it in mind, not in all cases, please, but in those cases where you have grievous egregious wrongs, that the signal should be sent of not only life imprisonment, but sentence without parole, or sentences after 60 years of imprisonment, so that if they come out at all, Madam Speaker, it is to spend the last few years before they depart this earth. Because, Madam Speaker, it is very important, and this Parliament is saying it to the judges, for gruesome crimes, for murders that are so gross, the proper signal must be sent to would-be and potential criminals. And so, Madam Speaker, while in the vast majority of cases, there will be grounds for reduction of sentence when the person pleads guilty, and there will be cases for negotiation of sentence. We are talking about those cases, Madam Speaker, small minority admittedly in many cases. They must be used as example to send a message to the public and to those who don't want to be friends of this society. But, Madam Speaker, my great regret is that we have not yet started to build the parish court complexes that we had hoped would have started. But we hope, Madam Speaker, that the Manchester court can be started, if not within the next 12 to 18 months. And we are also trying to get St. Anne, Trelawney, St. Catherine, St. James to be shovel-ready, so that when the funds are ready, we can immediately implement them. And I know, Madam Speaker, that the member from in front of me, Maypen, up to today, I spoke to the Minister of Finance whether we can put that in place, and we are hoping that later this year, because everything has now been worked out, member from Maypen, and we are hoping that later this year we can actually start the program. But everything is in place, and so we hope that will happen. Madam Speaker, the justice centres across the island are being improved, all the justice facilities. And, Madam Speaker, since I've been Minister of Justice, what I can tell you, you don't hear of courts being breaking down. And the reason, Madam Speaker, is that we ensure that the facilities are maintained. And, Madam Speaker, every May, including the beginning of yesterday, I asked the Court Administration Division to confirm that every air-conditioned elevator, other electronic equipment have been maintained or serviced since the beginning of the year, because the summer period is coming up. And it's heat in the courts. And if any air condition breaks down, the court will have to be locked down. But what I can say for the last 2 years, and I hope this year, that no court will break down because any equipment has broken down. The truth, Madam Speaker, is that maintenance is a very important part of court efficiency. Things must be maintained, and I hate to use a few minutes to make this point, Madam Speaker. I'm trying to tell the court staff, you need to maintain everything. I go down and put in brand new elevators at the Supreme Court, Madam Speaker. After a year and a half, I went down there. I say to one of the property managers, when last have you maintained this elevator? And he looked at me, Madam Speaker, and said, but in a breakdown yet, sir. And this is the problem in this country, Madam Speaker. We maintain nothing. We wait until they break down. And it's necessary not only in the courts, but across all justice sector, all sectors of the government building. We need to maintain everything so that they can last. Madam Speaker, I need to touch on a few other agencies before time runs out. The Administrator General's Department, Madam Speaker, is one of the shining departments of the Ministry of Justice. During the course of the last year, they closed 434 estates and transferred all the assets to the beneficiaries, exceeding their target of 400. 350 new estate cases came to the department. And, Madam Speaker, they are working efficiently and expect to close over 800 estates this year, and I certainly hope that that will be done. Madam Speaker, the Legal Aid Council is doing yeoman service in ensuring that persons who need legal assistance, legal aid as they call it, actually get legal aid. And Madam Speaker, this is one minister who can say that every legal aid attorney or every attorney doing legal aid, that they get their money. We don't owe anybody any. This minister ensure that the debts are paid. Every February, Madam Speaker, for the last 3 years, I've been looking at the ministry's financial area and say, what money you have there, let us make sure we don't finish the financial year without our debts being paid. So I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we don't owe any judgment debt. We pay them up. And Madam Speaker, around February, March, we have to be begging the contractors, send in your certificates, yes, because we have money. Yes. And Madam Speaker, this is how this minister intends to operate, make persons feel confident that they can deal with the Ministry of Justice. Madam Speaker, there's one area which I urge the DPP to address, and that is the question of plea agreement and negotiations. The truth of the matter, Madam Speaker, is that once a file is completed and ready for trial, as is the practice in the United States, where some 90% of cases are completed by plea bargaining, the prosecution should engage defense attorneys to bargain the completion of the case by a lesser charge and/or a lower sentence. Naturally, Madam Speaker, for serious matters, the sentence has to be within the normal range and at the higher level, as I pointed out earlier. Taking note that both charge and sentence would have to be approved by the presiding judge. Madam Speaker, the Plea Negotiations and Agreements Act is one which I think is not being fully utilized, and I am urging prosecutors to give more attention to plea bargaining to reduce the backlog in the courts. Madam Speaker, this leads me to return again to the matter of sentences. I have heard a cry for people that some of the sentences being imposed for certain offences are mere slaps on the wrist of criminal offenders, given the serious nature of their crimes. However, Madam Speaker, I strongly believe that after a guilty verdict, there should be a sentence hearing, where the sentencing judge hears presentations from both the prosecution and defense attorneys before imposing sentence. Regrettably, Madam Speaker, in most cases, it's only the defense attorneys who make a plea. But I do believe that the concerns and feelings of the victims and the families of the victims should also be taken into consideration by the trial judge before sentence is imposed. Because if that is not done, Madam Speaker, the right of appeal, which we will be coming to with shortly, will be utilized too much. So it's important that both the prosecution and the defense make their presentation and the judge so decide. Madam Speaker, the area that the Ministry of Justice is responsible for is legislation. And in truth, Madam Speaker, there are many pieces of legislation which are basically tied up, moving like ring-a-ring-a roses between the ministry, AG's office, CPC, various agencies giving information. People believe that legislation is easy. But the truth of the matter, Madam Speaker, it moves around the mulberry bush before it actually comes to me at legislation committee in order for it to be approved and actually tabled in the House. The truth, Madam Speaker, is that I am working assiduously on these legislation, and all the ministries are being contacted almost on a weekly basis to see where the legislations are. And in this fiscal year, Madam Speaker, I have no doubt that we will have many, many more pieces of legislation coming to this Parliament. For the Ministry of Justice, we have this right of appeal, and as I indicated, the criminal records for expungement. And Madam Speaker, another area which will come to us here shortly is a mediation act, because a mediation act is absolutely important to operate not only commercially in the courts, but also in the communities, Madam Speaker. Far too many communities engage in conflicts which can be settled by restorative justice and/or mediation. And I certainly hope, Madam Speaker, that when we roll out mediation and further roll out restorative justice, that persons within the communities, or families, or gangs, can utilize them in order to settle their differences rather than to engage in abuses and violence. Madam Speaker, there's so much that could be dealt with, but as I indicated, we are doing yeoman service at the Ministry of Justice, ensuring that justice is delivered to the people of Jamaica. Not only do we have mobile buses, 3 of them now, that can go into communities. So, members of Parliament, if you know of a community that need a bus to visit so that your member can have face-to-face, we have these mobile buses, just book them. There's no doubt, Madam Speaker, that during the past year, because of the pandemic, it has been downsized. But the truth is that we can do it virtually so that members can come to the constituency office, and I hope all of you now have virtual in your constituency office, and talk with a lawyer who is in the mobile bus. And so this sort of discussion can take place virtually. So the individual who need legal advice in the community can make contact with the mobile bus, Madam Speaker, and an opportunity can be arranged for legal service to be done virtually, because we have the opportunity to deliver service across Jamaica without your constituents having to come to a lawyer or come to the Ministry of Justice, or even at this time for the bus to go there. But sure, we will also want eventually for the buses to come to your constituency office or come to various churches or communities in order to deliver justice services. Madam Speaker, let me conclude. The team at the Ministry of Justice has faithfully discharged their duties as the lead administrators of justice in Jamaica. I have been impressed by their agility and dedication as they responded to the demands of the pandemic and continued to deliver efficient customer service to justice stakeholders across the island. In particular, I take this opportunity to acknowledge the stellar work of the Ministry's Finance and Accounts Division as it relates to the settlement of judgment debts. In 2020-2021 fiscal year, $646 million was paid out in the settlement of 176 matters. We continue to execute due process for sums awarded in the course of justice, as this is a true indicator of a first-class justice system. Madam Speaker, my team and I have approached this new fiscal year with confidence and a deepened commitment to play our part to foster safe, cohesive and a just society. For now, we will continue to virtually provide those services and support that cannot be done in person. But, Madam Speaker, to quote local singer Coffee, when the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road, we are primed and ready to continue to take justice to the people, land we love. So, Madam Speaker, a lot has been accomplished. A lot more needs to be said. Very shortly, we will be handing over the Director of Public Prosecution Offices, which will be a first-class facility, to the DPP. You may have seen some pictures, Madam Speaker, where I visited the DPP's office, and she's so pleased to say, when you're going to give everything to me. And I suspect, Madam Speaker, by July or August this year, we will have it all over to her. I want to thank you, members of Parliament, for your attention.